Well, good morning and welcome to Morning Cuppa. It's great to have your company this morning. So, what's going on with America? That's what all my Australian friends keep asking me. What's going on with America? And they ask me not out of derision or mockery. They ask me, I think, maybe because they figure I've got some kind of perspective, maybe some insight. Because I'm both an American citizen and an Australian citizen. So I think I do have a different perspective. I'll leave it up to you as to whether I have more insight on that. But they ask from a place of genuine care and concern. It's like a friend asking about a friend was, what's going on with Ed? Or what's the story with Sue? What's going on with Sue? It's genuine concern. I don't think there's any country on earth that loves America, any people on earth that love Americans more than Australia and Australians. And so it is a place that comes from genuine concern, a question that comes from a place of genuine concern. It also comes from a place of bewilderment, I think. Australians, by and large, just don't get what's going on with America because, in fact, Australia and America are really, while they superficially look like they may be similar countries, similar cultures, young countries with rich indigenous heritage, a history of brokenness and pain and tragedy in the interaction of European settlement and those indigenous cultures. There are a lot of parallels. They're both part of the British Empire at one time. They both become liberal democracies. Both have a Senate and a House of Representatives. Lots of superficial parallels, but if you dig down a little bit, you'll see that the stories, the founding narratives, are really quite different, and it leads to a bewilderment as Australians look at America and say, "What's going on with America right now?" I really got a sense of this as I was walking by a significant landmark here in Sydney just the other day. I was walking by Hyde Park Barracks. Hyde Park Barracks is a very different kind of landmark than the kind of landmarks that I grew up with. I grew up around Boston, and it's a place that's littered with historical landmarks. I had Lexington Green on one side and Concord Bridge on the other side, and there's the whole Freedom Trail in Boston and Bunker Hill and Plymouth Rock, and all of these landmarks are part of a heroic story where heroic people were doing heroic things. They were establishing, in their understanding, what Governor Winthrop called a city set upon a hill. Using the language of Christ, setting the bar way high as you can. Contrast that with the landmark and the narrative that we see coming out of Hyde Park Barracks. Hyde Park Barracks recalls a convict history. The people who founded what has become modern Australia were convicts and Marines who were dumped on the far side of the world, and they didn't have any say in it. And the first peoples who were here, they certainly didn't have any say in it. They all just had to make a go of it. And that leads to a very different self-understanding, a very different culture. It also leads to a different place, the church. The church in Australia has never been in the center of things, the way that it was in Western Europe for centuries, or the way that it was from the founding of America. The church has always been a bit on the edges here in Australia. That's not a bad place to be, because oftentimes that's where we find Jesus. Read the Gospels. He's at the edges. He is at the edges, holding a mirror up to the culture, calling the culture out for where there is injustice, where there is brokenness, and coming alongside those who are victims of that brokenness and that injustice. And so if I have any word of wisdom about America or for America, it's that the church needs to be the church in this time, not an arm of any political party. And to remember where our greatness lies. In 1834, a couple of congregational ministers from Britain visited the U.S. They had come and they visited all up and down the East Coast, and they were deeply impressed with the character, the soul of America and of American culture. But they said this, and this I think very important when we think about American greatness. They said, America will be great if America is good. If not, her greatness will vanish away like a morning cloud. I think that holding a mirror up is important, and recognizing that we can come before God and seek wholeness, healing, renewal. My favorite patriotic hymn in America is America the Beautiful. And there are a couple of lines in it that are so powerful. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. To know that as a nation we stand in the need of transforming grace. And another line, America, America, God mend thine every flaw. It's no good saying we have no flaws, we have no brokenness, we have nothing to confess. We are already a city on the hill, and people ought to get used to it. That's not greatness. America will be great if America is good. And America can only be good as God sheds his grace on thee. Those are my reflections for today, and I hope that they offer some insight and some perspective for you. Our world is in a troubled place right now, but God is in control. And I trust that God is moving among his people, bringing about a newness, a wholeness, a healing. And I trust that God is going to lead us as we have the grace and the courage to follow where Christ leads. So God bless you all. Wherever you are in the world right now, God bless you. God shed his grace on you. And may you have a hope-filled day.